Today I'm going to be looking at a few clips from a game played by my clan without me. This is from August 21st, and I am going to be as honest, hopefully, uh, I'm honest with myself when I'm critiquing what happened with good and bad things when I'm calling movements and stuff like that, but I think I'm going to do my best to be honest and, you know, see the good and the bad things that happen with somebody else calling the shots here too. This is from Sir Pud's perspective. He's sent 4 replays from the night, so it's just a quick video, and then we're just going to take a look. So it looks like, and this is cool because I have no idea what the conversation was at the time. All I have is what was going on. So it looks like the idea was to get vision. They were obviously like really heavy and slow. They had a Cromwell, that's their only speed. He's spotted early. You know, you can't think that they're doing much with their team that's creative. They're camping either on the 0 line or in the base somewhere. Judging where the Cromwell is, I'm guessing they're in the base. It looks like we've sent tanks mostly to try to be flexible, be able to go either way, get early damage if we can, and then also take a look at the top of the hill with using this Cromwell as a scout, which again I think is Cromwells make fine scouts. You can see the view range here on Pod is pretty good. The middle group here, Cromwells, is moving up through the middle of the map. I feel like I would have... Okay, so the 64 in the middle is getting aggressive vision too. I would have probably had Pud shoot or see if he was getting spotted up here. I think it's cool that there's a tank here, but essentially what he's doing now is going to have very little functional impact. If we have the group in the middle, they'll be getting spotted by anything that would also spot Pud. So, you know, other than leaving him here for like just an alternative firing angle, he's not really accomplishing much with his vision. And so there they go. They agree with my assessment in real time. So, getting vision on this map, I really like where the 64 is down there. Brad A's in an awesome position, really being aggressive forward with his spots. I would not go any further than that. I would just have that tank post up there the whole time and just leave it and let the rest of it happen around him, because if anybody moves or shoots, they're going to get spotted. He's got firing angles too into the corner that he won't get spotted in return if he needs it. So here we go. The rest of the Cromwell group moved up, and the 64 is going to try to get out and get vision. If they're not getting spotted there, I would really doubt that they're in the back corner, because if they're in the back corner at all, they should have some kind of, you know, capacity to see these middle tanks, unless they're, I mean, I guess they are kind of blind, but slowly pressing vision. That middle 64 even, Brad A got even more aggressive and got into the buildings. So that's, I mean, basically entire vision lockdown here. I still be really curious if there's anybody on 0 line, so I would, you know, have Pod shoot or drive around or have somebody try to figure out if they've got anybody back on the 0 line at all. Because if they're going to sit behind those buildings there, it's very hard to take them out unless you accomplish a win in the 0 line. And if their team was doing anything worthwhile, they'd be also in that corner. So I mean, maybe YOLOing a guy down into there. Well, everybody was kind of pre-aimed on it, just in case something crazy happened. At least 2 of their tanks, or 3 of their tanks, I should say, were not there. But that's, I feel like the next objective is to get multiple firing angles, and you can do that at like K2 or whatever it is, J3, K3 as well. You know, you could easily dispatch a tank over there. So this is Bob moving to the corner. This is exactly what I was talking about. Send a tank, everybody else ready to fire. You know, he might die, but you're going to get a lot of information. You'll kill a tank, maybe 2. Assuming you hit some shots. And how deep he is now, I would say it's unlikely that they've got tanks that are going to spot any of these guys until somebody spots them. And again, I don't know what the communication at the time, if people were saying, oh, I'm getting spotted or whatever. So, you know, I think it was probably that Hellcat there that spotted everybody. or spotted Putt as he moved down into here. He must have spotted other people if he was in that bush. You can hear Artie going off. I think it killed... Yeah, it killed the light tank. But we have control of this corner. It's going to be really hard for them to do anything useful. You know, multiple angles of fire on them. The only criticism I could say is, like, I guess you could put a guy, like I was saying before, on like J2, but that's a long drive and probably not worth it at this point in the game. We'll see here that maintaining bush camo back here, I thought they would have been able to. It has to be the VK that spotted them. There's no way that the KVs would have. So this is really scary. You've got KV2s about ready to pet me in the side. I would have probably, yeah, I would say I'd go like right here and wiggle a little bit and try to get invisible in that, in these bushes again somewhere, even though you're just spotted. You know, yeah, right here. Like if you can somehow wiggle away and find a way to get invisible again, you're gonna have shots for the rest of the game. Which is exactly what Putt does here. And then you might as well close with the rest of your group. You got side shots for free. You've got them out tanked at this point. So pretty much just clean up. I think mostly was good pace. You know, there's still 6.5 minutes left. We didn't lose hit points for no reason. We didn't rush unnecessarily. We made sure that we thought they were camping and slowly progressed vision to where you know, angles where we thought they probably were, and then confirmed where they were. You know, got vision appropriately. I think that was a pretty good takedown of a camp. I hate when teams do that. I mean, at least do it right. Do it in the zero corner, like at the zero line. I don't know why you would stay behind base like that. If you could spot like half decently, you're gonna be really strong to camp in all those trees back there. But whatever. So this is, at this time, a relatively new map to the Strongholds rotation. It was in before, then it was removed for a while, now it's back in for Tier 6 Strongholds. So we're going to find that usually C2 area is strong, just like it is in how battles has gun depression. It has a commanding kind of overwatch over a lot of the map, a large proportion of the map. You can go directly through the middle. Against these guys, you know, they've got some armor, a bunch of Rudies and a couple M's, a couple light tanks, so you should be able to get there and get early damage. So that should be the point of this. And they're sending all 7 tanks here, so if they're not here, you have to realize that and do something different, like really early. So here we go. I would say let's all poke shots. Get early damage like that. Nobody's taken damage yet. Perfect. And so now, apparently there's this decision time. A bunch of these tanks are dispatching to go around this way. Now I would say here's my commentary on this. I have seen this game once, so I'm not sure if everybody was supposed to go or if they were supposed to split and flank and pincer them. It's a 7-on-5 is the first thing to realize, is that they don't have their light tanks spotted. So one of two things is true. Either their light tanks are way off in here, and if you go over the top, they'll shoot you, and it'll really be a 7-on-7, but you won't be able to see 2 of their tanks, and they'll be getting free damage. So that could be happening. So if you go over the top, that might happen. Their light tanks could be capping. They could be doing any other number of things. If I would say that would be really atypical to put them in the back corner over here. That would not be a typical obvious thing for light tanks to do, like to stay back, to have a light tank stay back. I mean, I guess you could do it, but it'd be weird. So I would assume if I were like, you know, at just before this stage of the game, what would I have thought? I would have thought 7-on-5, let's take it and outshoot them. There's not one right way or wrong way to play these things, so instead they decide to go for a flanking maneuver here, and it works out. The wild card is I don't know where the light tanks are. If they are like over here, then they're going to get side shots as you flank. So that's the thing that they started again that we don't know. So yeah, they are in the middle. They will have side shots as they roll around here. It looks like one of the 64s didn't get around, but basically, I guess I was already getting shot there. Basically here, focus fire becomes very important because it's still a 7-on-5. It's just a little less direct way to get to that 7-on-5. And the guys do a pretty good job of killing the low health tanks and focusing fire. So I thought that was pretty good. I'm going to criticize Put a little here. I think these guys should be setting up their next shot down here rather than spinning around too much with that tank. And now we just got to hunt the light tanks. And also right here, I think this is just a like go right at them sort of scenario. I think maybe they just got tied up with each other there, but I mean this is like let's try to ram this guy, force this fight. I should have plenty of help. Not sure. These guys are going a way around. I'm not sure why. I think this should have been an all-in right now at the light tank. Remove him as soon as possible with 3-on-1. You know, it kind of got a little closer than I think it could have. That should have been an immediate 3-on-1. I mean, those light tanks have minimal health. They've been, you know, they could take like 4 or 5 shots. Ultimately, it works out. Again, that'd be my differentiation. I think the initial play at this hill would have been fine to go all in. The flank around, I think, was an interesting play also, and it worked. When our tanks did that, I think a good team would have pushed into whatever just followed us and what pushed into our flanks then and ring around the rosy or whatever, you know, because we clearly had 1 or 2 tanks that were slow getting the message that, you know, I would have forced an all in there, but it ended up working out. Battle on Runeberg against 2 heavies, 2 heavy mediums, the Cromwell, 6-4, C100Y. I never really think that C100Ys fit well with any meta like this. They're just too inflexible to be useful, I think. Now, their team I'm seeing now is really random. They got like several different clans, so I don't know how well their coordination is or their tank selection coordination is going or whatever. But this is what they've got, so I guess we're gonna deal with it. Now, this most recent patch, they actually did change the city on this side a little bit and some of the angles that it provides. So, common thought here also being we've got mobility. Let's get to a position early and get early damage if we can because we're just faster. And I think it's correct to chase that Cromwell in there with 2. You have to be a little careful that there's no tanks coming down this alley, because that can kind of get you in trouble from just sitting on that area too much. So I'm also going to call out Pud here just a little bit. We'll call out everybody as we see it, I guess. We got the kill in there, but one of the Cromwells got hung up in the corner. Yeah, I think that's always a tough one. Should you go right away and try to get that middle dude out if it's just one of them, whereas the rest of them, I mean, it's hard to know what to do there. But I took it out of Pud's view right here, and so he's going to drive himself into the line of fire from these guys. He needs to go down more this way. Exactly. He needs to go down more to the left as he's driving out of the view range of those guys. And yeah, and this is that new building I'm talking about. So, and also it's got a lot more. You got a lot more opportunity ducked behind hardcover, but which was what Pud was going for. So my biggest problem here is that, like, what are they doing, right? So it would appear that their heavies are there. I don't know where their tank destroyer, light tank, and mediums are. And neither do our guys. So we need to find that out. Trading with heavies on a corner is not good. Whatever we think we need to be shooting here while we're in view range, we shouldn't be doing that. We should be trying. We've lost a whole bunch of hit points to basically a Cromwell. And yeah, we're shooting that guy, but you can't trade with heavies. It's a bad trade. This 64, somebody needs to go see what's going on, because there's a second death which I would consider to be a poor play. Like, you're trading with heavies on a corner and a crown wall. That's not a good play. That's not what this tank's made for. So one of two things is possible. Either the rest of their tanks are camping, like completely in the city and just being useless or whatever, or they have been pushing down into our base, which we need to find that out, or they're out in the field somewhere. And so I feel like that's got to be the priority here. Like, you know, I don't know, this hasn't really been going on for that long, but it starts to feel like really stagnant quickly, and I'm really worried about where their other four tanks are. I think it would be correct to do two things here. Again, obviously get vision down the 0 line would be, I would say, a really high priority. Otherwise, dispatch everybody that's available back towards our spawn, and then go see what they're doing in the city, because you're going to either, you know, their heavies are pinned down, you're either going to catch some of their dudes moving in, or you're going to push all the way through the city and attack their heavies, and you know, if you don't see their other tanks, even if they're in the field, then you're finding like a multi versus 2 sort of scenario, so you're accomplishing what you need to accomplish. So that Cromwell is able to sneak out of the cover there. I feel like it is worthwhile to hold vision on these heavies, so you know when they move, if they're going to try to move, as you figure what else out you need to do. So there you go. Quickly, they're on cap. So I would send all tanks back to cap right now, because we know their heavies aren't really going to be there. And so you're going to fight an overmatch of some kind. You're going to, or at least, you know, some kind of an overmatch. Hopefully, you're going to have a 5 on, I guess, 4 at the worst. I don't know what to think about this. I think it's because we don't have any health that we feel like we need to play this from range rather than go right into it, which I guess is valid. It looks like they're also trying to get vision down the 0 line. So when they're positioned here, Pud's going to spot, or try to. Doesn't see anything. There they are. Just don't get tracked is the main thing, and hopefully your guys can do some work down the line of fire here. And there's a light tank on top too. So again, here I'd try to probably go get that light tank out, because Pud's found the 2 mediums. It's just the C100Y, so the light tank's isolated. And I guess I'd be asking, hey, can you solo that guy or not? And if he says I don't think I can solo him, then yeah, there you go, perfect. He's sending the other light tank to go 2v1 him, and then hopefully this engagement just sits and stalls, and then you'll be fighting him, you know, again more evenly. I don't know if I'd even poke here. I'd wait to see if we can get the light tank out. It's auto render now, of course, but another risky but potentially good play would be maybe to go try to cap them. I don't know if their heavies can respond. So this is tricky. So we've got our Cromwell's theoretically being able to support here, and then this 85M comes behind. This is, when I first watched this, I thought Pud did the right thing by trying to hug the building and just get out of the line of fire. Hopefully this Cromwell's up in the corner, because the light tanks are engaged, so hopefully the Cromwell's in the corner can get some shots into here. But, you know, seeing this in retrospect, I wonder, yeah, he could probably tuck away here a little better, just try to live. I wonder if he should have rushed into the other 85M, of course not knowing that the KV-85 would have been there, so I guess he would have probably died either way. So Pud for a second here goes AFK, I think he has to pee or something, whatever. So the light tanks were unsuccessful. They need to be hauling it back to get back to base here. Their 85M lived from the middle. The Su-100 was spotted, but all shot up. Their other 85Ms all shot up. There we go, good kill. 14 seconds starts to get me a little bit nervous, so we're gonna have to get some resets going here. You can see a 2-shot Cromwell's gonna go get some visions to reset. Got one of them. Got the same one again, then he gets shut down, so this looks like really, really dire. Other than they've got a couple tanks that are one-shots. So, kind of anything we can take here. I wish I could see how this plays out. Get the one-shot. It looked like their KDV-85 missed, and our 64 is able to flank around him. The other tanks, yeah, exactly. The other tanks need to join him, basically, at this point. It's the only realistic play. Is to just drive away from those guys and attack the tank that's about to cap you out. There we got resets. Does anybody have health? We got one dude with health. There we go. Putt came back from AFK. Tank a shot. We're missing a lot of shots. That was really lucky that that didn't hit. Now we need to get the heck into town. So we have 2 one-shots. I don't know if I'd even try to poke that. I think he's going to get shot here. I think I'd... Well, of course, then he gets a shot and he feels like it's the right thing to do, I suppose. Well, it was. I would assume that maybe because he's a light tank, he wasn't seen. So there's probably the 64 from up there is what likely happened. I guess I go back to I'm not sure what he was going to accomplish by putting his tank there. The 64s dive into town here to try to get away from that, which is correct. And it sounded like the Su-100Y shot missed, but I'm not 100% sure. And then we must have caught the edge of his tank on a corner or something. I didn't catch it, but I believe their 64 is also very low health. So how do you play this? I don't know. This is a hard one too. I think they do the correct thing by staying together. You know, you got to stay together. You can't. He's got to spend at least 3, probably 4, potentially 4 shots to kill both these tanks. Maybe going to cap is the correct thing to do. There's all kinds of bushes there. If you can get into cap cleanly without getting spotted, you can sit in some bushes and force them to come out at least. Which is ultimately what they do. Chasing their 64 in the open field doesn't sound very promising. So yeah, perfect. The front one slowed down. The guy with health go first. We can only watch the mini map now. There we go. Shut down. So close game. I think a lot of things potentially could have gone better. A lot of things potentially could have gone worse. I think there was some good individual play there when I think it was Brad A and the light tank got behind their 85, and it allowed the other dudes from the field to come when he was on cap to come in and support that. I thought killing the Cromwell early game was really important. I thought that we could have done a better job of keeping vision down the middle. I thought we could have got vision down 0 line a little better. There's lots of, like, I guess, little things, you know, we won, I guess, so ultimately how much do they matter, but, you know, just those are the things I thought of when I was watching this. Is like, oh, I wonder where this tank is, and I wonder if we could, you know, do this to find them, because we really only played on a quarter of the map there for most of the early game, and map control is really important. So if you can establish vision and establish control, even if it's just with one tank so they can't move through part of the map, it's really important. And in this map, that's, you know, the open side if you're playing the open side, or the city if you're playing the city, or, you know, making sure you have lockdown vision through the city if you're playing the open side. So, you know, trying to keep map and vision control going as much as possible to try to be able to respond to their movements the best you can. So here's Cliff. The general theory, what I'm calling this, is that if you're more mobile than them, which is almost every game when you're in Cromwell's, is that you should really take the very strong central position first, and get early damage if at all possible. So we should be able to shoot their heavy tank, their 85Ms, 85s as they're moving in the middle. Also, it's worth noticing that these are 85s, T-3485s rather than 3485Ms, which are considerably weaker than 3485Ms in regards to like every parameter. Basically, I don't think there's actually a single statistic that they're better, and maybe like ground resistance is very slightly better or something like that. But 85Ms have better armor, better gun handling, reload, T/DPM, like just everything's better. So, whoever's there first, get vision, and then you kind of have to decide from there. So, if you can take, there we go, so there's tanks there, you have to take as many tanks shooting as you can. I feel like we get a little jumbled up here, so I like a tank up there, that usually works. 2, maybe 3 tanks here. I think 1 or 2 of these tanks could have gone around to that side a little more. You know, and that's just the thing, I think as you're driving up there, you have to see where there's going to be room for you. So, essentially, we've suppressed them and stopped them from progressing up the map at all. This VK is going to be in the open for a second here if he drives forward further. I guess I'm in spectator mode. But what I'm noticing most of all in this is that they're not all here. So where are the rest of their tanks? Like, did they just stop? I would expect not, because their VK clearly showed up behind the rest of the pack. So they've got fast tanks somewhere, or at least a fast tank, the Crusader and one of the 3045s that are somewhere else that I need to know about. So this, I guess, goes back to what I was just talking about with map and vision control. Is like, you know, these shots have run out. It doesn't take 7 tanks to hold these guys here now. It takes maybe like 2, maybe like 3. I think I would have sent all of the Cromwells probably to where the 64 is going now. I think I would have done that earlier, because the worst case scenario is that they get crossfire and you don't know about it. So their better play, their team, I'm going to look at the minimap, their team should have, when they got pinned down here, they should have driven up this ramp into this area, you know, right there, and got cross shots. They should have done that, but instead they opted to go the long way down and try to cap, which essentially can't possibly work on this map. So that was the anticipation. When they didn't have their full team here, even though we are getting, you know, intermittent effective fire, we have to realize that they're not all there, and that we cannot get pincered, because if we got pincered here, this game would have probably ended up in a loss. Or, you know, I don't know, I can't say that for sure, I guess, but that would be the thing that would threaten this game. So, you know, they're on cap, it doesn't really matter, because it's so easy to reset them from right there. You know, they're essentially suiciding at this point. But yeah, that would be my critique or criticism, I guess, of this one, is that I feel like, I don't know if Pud's AFK, what's he doing here? I feel like that should have been a play a little slightly earlier, and I do mean slightly, like, you know, those 30 seconds though, that's when you win or lose some of these games, is that, you know, that decision that should have happened 30 seconds sooner. It's mop up at this point because they drove 2 tanks into the open and tried to cap, which probably they didn't get any return fire, I'd expect. And then also, I'm not sure where their light tank would be. Oh yeah, there you go. You know, not a bad play, I guess, but he would have been much more effective going around flanking with his other teammates. Oh yeah, push him off the edge. Oh yeah, epic. Yeah. Oh, that'll work. So, that's my impression of what happened on that map. I think the initial play was good, a strong one, basically the play that I would recommend most of the time. But then the recognition that they're not all there, where are they? We need to protect our flank. Let's send some tanks to the donut. You know, 4 Cromwells, 5 Cromwells, whatever. I think, or a I don't think you should send both the light tanks alone because they're going to get shredded by the unspotted heavy and whatever if they got caught. But where Cromwells will fare better in that. But yeah, just a little bit quicker to get that kind of secondary vision and realize that the shots are running out and you don't have really 7 firing positions there to sit there and extend with seven tanks, extended period of time with like ongoing fire. But yeah, overall it was cool watching this without having played them. I did watch all these videos right before I made the commentary on them, so I kind of knew what was going on, but I pretty much said what I was thinking when I was watching them in the first place. I just had a little bit of warning because I knew what was going on. So yeah, that's it. I kind of liked it actually. Like playing Monday morning quarterback is easier, I guess, than than doing it in real time, obviously. But again, I thought there was some good plays as a group that we made on the stream host. I thought the focus fire was really good. Ultimately, you know, the Runeberg one, I think we got a little too boxed in and weren't playing the strengths of our tanks quite like how we could have. The camp one of Melanovka wasn't super interesting, I guess. It was just basically trying to break down a camp, which, you know, I think there's only one wild card is what I consider is that Hellcat in that forward bush. And that one was a little weird or unexpected, unpredictable. And then this one I thought was pretty fluid, except for, like I said, we really needed to go to the donut. So yeah, pretty good stuff overall.